Well, here I go again. The title is a question. What do I believe now? I was asked, quote, can you tell us how many ideas you are following now and which ones you think might be most promising? End quote. I responded, I hold even the most promising remedies with some skepticism. I have given up on attempts to reestablish the republic, no matter who leads them. There have been many promises of re-evaluation of the currency, replacing fiat with gold back. I invested $60 in one such scheme, and the paperwork was lost not once but twice. I still haven't received it. I've given up on Swiss-Indo, and I think those who tried to warn me about the ambassador may have been right, though he did appear as a real friend for a long time. Unless God gets off the non-interference list, there is no hope for humanity or planet Earth as a habitable planet. Indeed, it's hard to say what I believe now because I'm probably the most skeptical I've been in my whole life. And again, for those of you that have been listening and following me for some time, you know that happened with the theft of my home, which again, never had a mortgage on it. I don't want to keep beating that drum, but that's the issue. That's the issue. I don't have independence. And people ask me about various things that I've been involved in. I was very much involved in the Republic, restoring the Republic movement. As you may remember, if you've been listening, I was the Secretary of State of the Florida Republic. And I was very much involved in trying to reestablish the Republic, involved with Tim Turner, who is now considered a criminal, is in jail somewhere. I think that's probably a total con. I don't believe he was guilty of anything except trying to tell the truth and trying to get people to recognize that the government that we have in the United States is a fiction. It is a corporation, privately owned, privately operated, and it's run by internationalists, not by people that have any interest in the United States or in any human rights or human values. They are totally devoid of anything except their idea of controlling the whole world. And that's the whole game plan, is control of the world. I think the Republic exists. It has existed since it was founded. The only changes that I would make to the original documentation is everybody, regardless of race, has a right to vote and has human rights and natural rights. Everyone, regardless of gender, has rights. No religion, no gender, those are irrelevant. Everybody, male and female, and again, all of the races, anybody that lives in the United States is part of the Republic. And I think the Republic form of government that was envisioned by Thomas Jefferson and some of the founders of the United States, they had it right on the money. The rights guaranteed under the Magna Carta were right on. But they've not been followed because you've had a criminal operation in place for hundreds of years and even longer than that. And it has become perfected in our day and age, and the whole government scheme around the world is it's just fraud. It's fraud through and through and through. Anything run by Lucifer is a lie. And of course, lies are always intermingled with truth because you can't just sell lies. You've got to put truth in there somewhere to make them sound relevant, to make them sound promising. But it's idle promises when it's coming from someone that's a liar. And if you've noticed, all of our politicians, if their lips are moving, they're lying. Because that's the nature of the beast, the political beast that has taken control of the world and wants to be dominant in the whole world, that is the controlling factor. And it's why it's everything that I've ever done to establish the kingdom of heaven on earth has to do with establishing the republic and establishing republics all over so that people are free again. Now, as far as investing in this monetary thing, I think I said it in a previous video, you change it to gold, it's still monetary system. It's still going to be enabled to be enslaved. You can't use money, period. Money is an object of enslavement. It is a way of making people think they are free. It's giving people rights as to who has the most and who has the least. It destroys equality. It destroys justice. It destroys truth. It destroys spirituality. It destroys everything that's decent and good. And all can be laid at the root of the monetary system. That was the initial thing that introduced slavery into the human race. It's slavery by deception. It's not like they bind us and put chains around us to be slaves. The chains are invisible, and it's money that are the chains. Money is the change. Chains, not change, chains. And I mentioned in the blurb, Swiss-Indo. They contacted me not very many months ago before I went to Australia and wanted to reestablish contacts, but then they wanted a non-disclosure agreement signed. I won't sign a non-disclosure agreement, period, for anybody, for any reason, because truth liberates. When you can't tell the truth, you are buying into the prevalence of the lie, the predomination of the lie. The lie dominates everything in human culture. That has to change, and you don't do it by non-disclosure. You do it by telling the truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Who was it that said that? You all know if you are been around for a while. Anyway, the other thing was the ambassador. I really liked the ambassador. I mean, he showed himself to be a friend. Some of the people that were his friends were not very nice people, which is always a curious factor. And he turned out calling me the liar when he was the one that promised to give me money. And he was promising to take me to China, and all my ways were paid. And he convinced me to get a U.S. passport, which means I had to go back. And by doing that, I went back into the de facto system because I had the world passport. That was not in the de facto system. That was a de jure system. De jure means it's based on truth. It's based on something that is tangible and real. De facto means it's an illusion. It's a lie that's posing as if it's the truth and the reality, but it's not. And the ambassador has feel like I've been played like a yo-yo with the ambassador. Because, as I said, we've had so many conversations, and even though we didn't agree totally on everything, I always felt that he was pulling for me, and he demonstrated that when I was in the hospital by calling doctors and calling family members. And I mean, he went out of his way to show his concern. So I don't understand why he ended up calling me a liar. I don't understand why when I needed help when I was in Australia, he was unable to connect me with the people that might have been able to help me. There's lots of things there that don't make sense. But in any case, life goes on, and I will do the best I can, and I don't know what I believe now. I believe that if God doesn't fix it, it ain't going to get fixed. And whether God uses angels or extraterrestrials to do that, I don't care. But God has to do it, because if it's left up to humans, it'll never get done. Thank you for listening. Namaste.